Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the main event of the evening. Broadcasting around the world and heard by champions, dreamers, go-getters everywhere, live from Due Diligence Studios. It's time! Standing in the podcast corner, he's relentless warrior in and out of the cage, a champion kickboxer turned full contact visionary, known for his devastating head kicks, unstoppable drive, and championship mindset. He is the founder of Hands On Real Estate, the investing machine behind some of the most creative, profitable, and freedom-based real estate strategies in the game today. From fix and flips to short-term rentals to tax-lien HELOC mastery, this man is not just playing the real estate game, he's rewriting the playbook. A bold entrepreneur, devoted father, speaker, world traveler, and mentor to many, he brings the fire of the fight game and the discipline of a warrior to every deal, every coaching call, every room he steps into. He is the honey badger of the housing market, the real estate renegade, the cage fighter turned wealth builder. Umaer, Bank of America.
Let's go.
Dude, I have never been introduced in that manner ever. Mr. Bruce Buffer himself couldn't have done it better than that, bro. That was epic. What a build up, man.
I
Let's
was really
go.
scared I was gonna stutter.
Dude, I mean, how long did you even have to rehearse that? Or was that straight from the cuff? Like that was it.
That was full ChatGPT.
Hey man, gotta leverage.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's go.
yeah.
As you were saying that, I was like, man, is he gonna like mumble on one word in there? Have to redo the whole
Restart the
thing.
entire
Let's
thing.
go, man.
All right.
Dude.
Well, so my name is Aiden Grazia. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Due Diligence. With me, we got Justin Moran, my good old friend, and of course, we have Umaer, Bank of America Haq. I guess we got to start out with you were a kickboxer, and tell us a little bit about that side of you, about that side of your story, and then how you got into real estate from there.
Yeah, man, I had no idea that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing in the business world when I first started. Got kicked out of school, was just rambunctious. I just act, right? I just do things. And after middle school or during middle school, I got involved in kickboxing and mixed martial arts. And it just kept me out of trouble. I was like, man, this is cool. I get to punch people in the face and not get in trouble for it. I think I want to do more of this. So I did it as an amateur for a long time, and I had a pretty good record. I was like 28-2, just kickboxing and MMA.
Hey.
And then I started doing it professionally, and I was just broke, living with my mom and dad in their basement. And I was like, damn, like, how long can I actually keep getting punched in the face for a living? Like, once I started doing it for money, guys, my passion died. I was like, this sucks. By the time I paid for supplements and like basic stuff, like paying for a gym, I was broke. I was struggling. And I was like, man, something has got to give. I got to figure something out here. So I got into real estate. I was actually watching, like, learning from the University of YouTube. I was on things like Bigger Pockets. I was like, man, I want to figure this thing out, right? I was chasing the dream. And a bunch of people gave me a ton of empty promises. And I felt like I was spending money and not making any. And that feeling just absolutely sucks. And, but yeah, kickboxing, dude, I still train. My buddy Brent Hess owns a gym here in Virginia. It's called Keto MMA and Fitness. I grapple every day. Now I get to do it because I love it. And I want to stay healthy, man. Real wealth is your health. You know, as soon as you find out you're sick or you have a disease or you know, you have type 2 diabetes, whatever it is, it's like life changes. And so yeah, hopefully that was enough, but I'm still training. I've got fighters that I train amateur and it's a ton of fun. I love seeing people win, and I think it's a big part of what I do now and why I'm here with you guys. I'd love to just be able to share and help people get ideas and build their own thing, you know?
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Man. That is absolutely
And I mean,
awesome.
that leads us into how I met you personally. I had an awakening experience this past year. I graduated from the University of Maryland and I was like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? I thought I was going to go to dental school. And then God really was like, nope, you're going in a different direction. And I really became interested in real estate. And in my research, in my scavenging the internet, I came across this wonderful, wonderful program called Renatus, where I had the pleasure of meeting Umair. I believe it was a Monday night session. And it was an enlightening experience to say the least. He was like running through, it was like everything you were saying was just like, yes, yes, yes. And it just all made sense, and our relationship has really flourished since then, and look at us now. I mean, I'm pursuing real estate deals. I'm learning tons and tons every single day, and one thing that I absolutely love about you is you're not the most conventional real estate strategies. I'm gonna give a hint that your go-to, I would say right now, is a little mobile, if you wanna touch on, what I mean by that.
Yeah, based off of where the economy is right now and the marketplace is, uh, I decided to go into mobile home park investing. And that model I can put up against any professional in the real estate investing space. I don't care if you're a developer, if you're doing Airbnb arbitrage, if you're wholesaling. The mobile home park space can produce the most cash on cash return than any other investment because there's so many ways to make money in real estate. So I leaned into mobile home parks and I do a lot of rent to own deals for people who can't get a traditional bank loan. And with all of the things happening in 2025, with the higher interest rates, the geopolitical problems with the countries and inflation and all the waste that we're hearing about, um, I think it's a market that smart investors really should look into. And as history has shown, guys, I always do the opposite of the masses, right? And I have a rhyme and reason behind it. And so I'm really working on building a life by design instead of submitting to a life by default. And so it takes some thought, it takes some coaching, it takes being able to step out of yourself and be wrong, right? I'm so open to being wrong because I'm not in the game for being right or wrong. I'm in the game for getting a result and then being able to create a duplicatable result for others, right? And so I can go on for days about the power of mobile home park investing, and the instant kind of thing in in most people's head is, oh, trailer trash. I'm gonna have to deal with all kind of nonsense, maybe meth heads or drug addicts. Not even, not at all, man. Like I'm in Virginia and my parks are in the Carolinas. They're like 8 hours away. And I've built a systemized process of creating passive income, true passive income without all of the headaches. Because I really believe it's important to live, right? Like I'm what, 37 now? 10 years, man. 15 years gone. I'm never gonna get that time back. So it's important to start really taking a deep look. That's why I think things happen for a reason. If you're watching this right now, you're watching it for a reason. And I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, but God gives you little hints. And sometimes you could take those hints and run with them, or you can just let them pass you by. And so that's a long-winded way of saying create your own destiny. And if you look at the wealthiest people on the planet, they have all done it through some sort of real estate investment. It's a part of everyone's portfolio. So yeah,
You guys
hopefully
see
that
what I'm
helps.
saying? Every single thing that comes out of his mouth, you're just like, yes, preach, just yes. It's like you got to go against the grain. I love it.
I second that absolutely. Now, Umair, you were of course getting into mobile home parks and explaining that that's been your cash cow and that's given you that freedom. For someone watching right now who is starting from scratch, so like, hey, I want to get into real estate, and specifically mobile home park investing. What are some tips for a beginner that you would give to someone starting out in the space?
Yeah, let's start by helping you guys understand that there's different markets to invest in all across America, and you're going to invest in a specific market based off of your goals. Okay, let me break this down. So there's cash flow markets and there's equity markets, right? And cash flow markets are places like the Carolinas, parts of Georgia, parts of Florida, Ohio, Indiana, right? Where the price is not so high, and your rents in relation to what you're buying that property for are high. For example, people don't believe me, but I buy houses for as little as 30 to 50 grand. And I rent those houses for anywhere from 875 to $1,000 a month. Now, and it's crazy because when I start sharing with people how they can get into a lot of these deals without using their own money or credit, it's just a amount of, okay, how many deals do I actually need to hit my need number, right? So there's two numbers. If you're listening to this, I want you guys to write down. There's your need number. That's how much money you need coming in to pay for your current expenses. Okay. And then obviously we want to design your life. So then after your need number, there's your want number. And so you got to understand, without me getting way too deep in the weeds, you got to understand what market you want to invest in based off of your goals. When I started, guys, I was broke as a joke. So I was like, man, I don't want to work for anyone and I need a paycheck. I need a paycheck like tomorrow. So I decided to invest in cash flow markets. Okay. Now let's say you're a C-suite executive. You've got a great job. You're making 250 grand a year. Your investment needs are going to be different than what mine were when I started, right? Maybe you don't want to pay a lot of capital gains tax. You don't want a lot more income. You want to shelter your income. So then you want to position yourself in a market that's going to build long-term wealth over time. So there's, you guys, depending on what your goals are, investing in the market that makes sense for you. Now, my plan, because I started with nothing, was to really position myself in a cash flow market, understand finance, and create the income I need. Once I hit my need number, then I started investing in more risky real estate. Okay. And there's so much that I can go into, guys, because there's so many different types of deals. Like there's deals that provide what we call operational income or revenue that you can live off of, right? So there's two types of income really that I want to help you guys understand. There's active income or operational income, and then there's passive income. And in America, those types of income are taxed differently. So again, man, I can take a deep dive wherever you guys want to go with this, but we can tailor real estate to help you reach your goals specifically, because there is no one size fits all approach. And if someone tells you that there is, run, because they're probably lying.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, like you said, I'm sure there's some crazy maze you can go down in the world of real estate that I'm sure that you've been down yourself. And as we continue to talk, we can go into that. But taking a pause and kind of going more personal with you, because it sounds like you're a jack of all trades, right? You got the kickboxing, you got the real estate, you're a dad, right? So as a father, entrepreneur, coach, and traveler, how do you balance it all without burning out?
Yeah, the reason I got into real estate is so I never have to worry about burning out. I mean, like I have so much, like if I wanted to do nothing all day, I could do that. And that's the reason I tell people, give yourself a timeline, realistically, 3 to 7 years to hit your need number. And then once your need number is hit, it's like anything on top of that is amazing, right? But I know for a fact, regardless of if I take a speaking gig or if I turn down an opportunity, all my expenses are paid. So I highly recommend you guys get into like whether even if it's not real estate, right? Like people build wealth through real estate, but it doesn't have to be it. Like you can build your income by building your own business, doing something you love, like starting a practice of some sort, opening up gyms, doing landscaping, whatever it is, right? Do what you need to do to bring in active income. If you want to leverage real estate to bring in active income, you're going to do things like wholesaling or fixing and flipping or raw land development or Airbnb arbitrage, because those specific strategies will produce immediate income, right? But if you don't want to do real estate to produce operational income, leverage your W-2 for a little bit, okay? Most people in this game, they start part-time until they start making tons of money with it, right? There's no right or wrong, but you need to have income to pay for your life, and then leverage that income to pay for your passive income. Like when you get into real estate, you're basically, think of it this way, you're buying a paycheck. And you can buy that paycheck without using your own money or credit. And I can give you guys an example, right? So, or you can buy that paycheck. Guys, I've done deals with no money out of my pocket just because I bought the property at a deep enough discount. What do I mean by that? Let me explain it, right? So I bought this mobile home park and I got it under contract for dirt cheap, okay? And I can go through numbers one day if you guys invite me back, right? Got it under contract. The bank that was funding this deal, they did an appraisal on the park, okay? They did what we call a commercial appraisal. It's different from a residential appraisal, right? It's based off of the income that this asset produces. So they did a commercial appraisal, and my appraisal came back double of what I had it under contract for. You with me? So before closing, this bank allowed me to do a cash out refinance. Okay. That refinance paid for what would have been my down payment, and it put 100 grand in my bank account. Okay. Now, essentially, just by buying the property right, I did the deal without using any of my own money. And this is the best part, guys. Am I going to pay back the bank that I borrowed the money from?
No, your tenants are.
Oh, this why, yeah. I don't, guys, what other asset can you buy that other people will literally pay off for you? So here's the catch, guys. My tenants are going to pay off my debt service. After the debt service, I'm going to have cash flow that adds to my need number. And on top of that, the bank gave me 100 grand that I can use to go buy more properties. Now here's my next question for you guys. Am I going to pay taxes on the 100 grand that the bank gave me?
No, because it's a loan.
Because technically it's considered debt. If Americans just knew how to play the game, bro, there'd be riots all over the place. I mean,
Yep.
it's crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well,
It's like,
Umair, so-
and here I am, a guy that doesn't have a college degree. I can barely spell. I use Grammarly. You know what I mean? I can't do math. Guys, this is 2025. You don't need any of that stuff. You need your cell phone and maybe a laptop, and you can be in business.
all right, well, let's say if I were to throw you into a whole new environment, you didn't know anyone, you still had to use Grammarly for every single sentence, and you didn't have any money. What are you doing to get your first property, and what strategy are you going to use to start snowballing?
Well, I'm doing everything thinking with there's one thing in the back of my head. This one thing. How could I provide more value wherever I'm at? How can I provide value to the area that I'm at? How can I provide more value than whatever I'm going to end up taking? The best businesses on the planet provide more value than what they take from the marketplace. Name any company winning out there right now. Anyone. Amazon, Elon Musk and Tesla, Apple, their value proposition is way greater than what they're taking from a money standpoint. So if I'm dropped in the middle of nowhere with nothing, the number one thing I'm thinking is how am I going to provide value and where can I go to talk to people? Right? If I'm dropped somewhere, the first and it specifically for the real estate space, I'm going to go to the tax assessor's office. Why would I go to the tax assessor's office? Because if I'm in an area, I want to provide value. What brings in revenue to cities and towns across the country? Tax revenue, right? So if I can attract people to this area that want to live there, what's going to go up? Their tax revenue. So I'm going to start building relationships with the tax assessor's office. I'm going to talk to the magistrate. I'm going to start understanding what are some problems in this area that I can solve, right? So I'm going to start going to meetup groups. I'm going to talk to attorneys. I'm going to really like the key is finding problems. Most people want to run from problems. Us investors, we love problems. I love problems.
Your plan wouldn't be get a corporate job and work up the corporate ladder for 4 years?
No matter, guys, I've run the numbers. I've ran the numbers. I've calculated how much a high paid individual works, even the highest paid CEOs, how much they get paid. If you took that same time and just invested in yourself, you will outpace any job on the planet with the right information, knowledge, and resources. Any job, because if you're looking at like even look, think about the highest top 1%, they're bringing in 300 to 400 grand a year, right? And that's great. That's good money. They might get some stock options, which is fantastic, which will help them build wealth. But long term, guys, the higher you go up the ladder, the harder you get worked. And then you actually lose sight of what's important, which is the people you love, which is your family, which is the experiences that you're going to have. It's actual freedom, right? And so I meet friends of mine that live here in the Washington D.C. area killing it financially, but they're not killing it spiritually. They're not killing it with their family. They're like dads that feel worked to the like to the bone, dude. And I'm like, thank God I didn't. I accidentally opted out of the system. I didn't even know what I was getting into. I was just like, I'm broke, and I hope I can figure something out.
Well, that brings up a great point in my journeys and Justin's journey being entrepreneurs in the stages of our life is we're looking a long-term vision when we have families. We're looking to be suppliers to live a life that we want to live and seeing you living literally that life, you're why I look up to you in so many ways. I mean, you have an amazing family, a beautiful wife, and you have a beautiful daughter. It's like you've reached this point. How does it feel to have gotten there? Like you're living the life.
No, I mean, you never really arrive, guys. That's why as soon as you hit a goal, what you got to understand is there's levels to the game. No matter how
Absolutely.
good someone's got it, somebody's got it better. And no matter how bad someone's got it worse. Right? And so we have to live in this space where we're not comparing ourselves to other people. We're on our own perspective journey. And that's why I recommended everyone write down their need number, right? Because unless you have a target, you're not going to hit it, right? And so many people hit levels of success, but then they just kick the ball down. They kick the goalpost down, right? Like it goes further. So, man, I've got so much more to do in the world and in life. And ultimately, once you make good money, you can almost lose your purpose. I've had some crazy I was like, "Dang, well, what do I do now?" And then you can get into, like, the things that are super scary, like alcohol addiction, porn addiction, just doing crazy stuff. I've been down all kind of stuff. I've seen people die from overdoses, and when you get to a certain level, you gotta always maintain a purpose in life, because if you wake up like, especially us men, right? You gotta have a vision for what your life is like. When you're finding your mate in life, it's her vision that she's gonna follow. You know what I mean? And if you have a powerful vision, and other people will follow that. So I haven't made it in my mind because there's still more to do, more to be, more to have in the world, right? And so I feel like I'm just getting started, right? Because now once there's levels of the game. Like once you get out of scarcity and all your need numbers are met, then you want to hit your want number. And once you hit your want number, then it's like, okay, I want to contribute back to society. Right? Because if you don't have a purpose, you're gonna end up down the wrong path, right?
Absolutely.
I hope that makes sense, right? I
I
don't I
mean,
don't mean to throw up all over you guys, but I
no,
love
we're
people,
catching it all.
right? I love people, and if I can stop them from making some of the same mistakes that I have, I will. But you got to realize, through frustration comes growth. Our bodies work the same way, our minds work the same way, but everyone's so against being frustrated. When I'm frustrated, I'm like, all right, I'm really frustrated. I know that I'm about to hit my brain is scanning for a result, right? Our brains do that. I mean, look at where we're at. Fine, I mean, freaking with technology and stuff, right? The human brain scans for the result. And a lot of times people give up right when they're frustrated, where that's like the exact moment where they need to keep going, right?
Mhm. The only difference between those who succeed and those who have failed is the ones who quit, right? Every single person who has succeeded, they've failed more times than you can count. But the only difference is they didn't give up on that one hiccup, that one trial, that one tribulation. There's a proverb in the Old Testament that says a righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up. And so, of course, like you can talk about sin or even in business, right? Or just growing as an individual. You fall and you always get back up. If you always have the mentality, you're going to get back up, you're going to grow, and you're eventually going to strike the gold that you have been searching for your entire life. And I'm sure you've experienced this. Like you said, you have many friends who have built wealth and whatnot, but they're not free. They still have chains, whether it's their time and their energy that they're putting into things they don't want. It resonated a lot with me growing up. Just most people want to be the average person. They wanna go to college, they wanna get a job, they wanna work for a 401k and then retire when they're 65 and hopefully have enough to last them in retirement. And when you're around that environment, it really starts to bleed into your mind that that's what I'm supposed to be. Because my first job ever wasn't a W-2 job. I mowed lawns in my neighborhood from like ages like 11 to 18. I never worked for like any job, and I loved it. I love working for myself. I loved sales, client to client, building relationships. And then why did I get my first job? Because my peers, my family say, hey, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. So I switched from the entrepreneurship mindset to the employee mindset. And Aiden knows this. I went to the University of Maryland as an undecided major. Why would I ever opt in to go tens of thousands of dollars in student loans if I didn't know why I wanted to go there?
Wow.
Why did I do that? No one taught me how to reverse engineer what I wanted. Okay, maybe I want to be a dentist. Okay, now I need to go to school. Maybe I want to be an electrician. You got to go to trade school. Or maybe I want to build a massive, massive portfolio in real estate. Then you don't need to go to school. But who was in my corner telling me that? No one was.
Most people have, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Good.
Most people have, it's a psychological phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. If you look it up, it's when you've been led to believe something for so long and it's ingrained in your psychology that when a fact comes out and literally shows you that that's untrue, the human brain cannot fathom it. So it continues to do, think, and feel the same way it always has. Psychology is so important, man. Like, yeah, I don't want to go down to a rabbit hole with how we've used psychology and war tactics like MK Ultra and stuff on this call, but
Well, talking about psychology is so important because especially coming from my end where so many people had an expectation of me to go one way. I was so expected to go to dental school and to be a health professional. But when I made the decision to go entrepreneurial, there weren't too many people on my side. What was that? What was that?
Nobody's gonna be clapping for you if you get into the business space. It's just
Absolutely. And
but dude, think about it. The people, isn't it interesting how the A and B students end up working for the C and D students?
Hey, not me, bro. Come on now.
Not you, bro. I'm just saying. You're gonna be on another level.
Point average.
You're gonna be on another level because you're smart, you're starting young, you got good grades. Like, my prayer is that you blow anything that I do out the water, right? Like, I know that that's possible for you, so I see nothing but potential, man. Like, you have no idea.
Amen.
It's so cool that you're getting into this journey and how you're authentically wanting to share with people. Like, when you asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you called me cute on that phone call. Remember that?
Hey, man, you're
that was out of pocket. I'm sorry.
I'm like, dude, you're a cute dude. I'm like, come on, people are gonna love like hanging out with you, and absolutely.
I'm clipping that.
Chat, garage for some great genetics.
Now let's keep it.
I think this leads us to a perfect time for a fun, completely off-topic question. So, Umaer, your life is on the line. You have to sing one karaoke song from the 2000s without missing a word, or you die. What song are you singing?
That's an interesting question. I would be singing Brian McKnight, Back at One, because that was my wedding song to my wife.
Wow.
That's incredible.
We fight, we argue, we have it out for each other, and every single day or every single week, every single month, we start back at one. And there's something like everyone's like, I'm not happy anymore. I'm not in love. Like, I don't believe in that. Like, marriage is a commitment. You know what I mean? It's like when you say you're gonna do something, when it gets hard, you don't tap out. So me and my wife, we have two strong personalities, but we're always starting back at one. It's amazing. So
let's go. I thought you were gonna say "In the Club" by 50 Cent.
Yeah. I was considering saying "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac, but I was like, no, it's too vulgar, right? I can't believe I used to listen to that. But it was like getting me feeling crazy, Oh
my gosh, insane. That's a great transition.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say it's crazy what I used to listen to what I listen to now.
My gosh.
I
Yeah,
just used to listen
I
to
was
like the
programming
heaviest
myself.
EDM.
I was programming myself to kill people and whoop, like, you know, I'm like dun dun dun, like walking around like ready to scrap at any moment. You know what I mean? It was like it's just a
My gosh.
different. I'm not saying don't listen to that stuff, but just be mindful of what you're putting into your psychology. You know what I mean? Like if a TV's on and a commercial pops up, I'll just mute it because I don't want them infiltrating.
Let's go.
Mm.
I know I
Dude,
sound a little
we're
crazy,
so
but
anti-Matrix here. No, we're on your side.
I'm just mindful, man. I'm mindful.
I don't like the Matrix.
I don't like the Matrix at all. And how does the enemy get to you? Your eyes and your ears. So you gotta be careful of what you're watching and what you're hearing and going off of the music. Oh my gosh. If you just sit there and really analyze the lyrics that we were singing the good old days, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like drugs, sex, money, women. I'm like, I'm singing this every single day. And I'm trying to go out there and be a great dad, a great business owner, this, that, and the other. Yet I'm listening to all this just absolute garbage that's getting to my mind and my spirit. And, that was a really hard thing for me to delete that kind of music off of my, playlist because again, it was part of my gym routine, getting in the shower. I was always cranking that kind of music, and so when you cut it off, it's like, "Shoot, what do I do right now? Like, do I just work out in silence and listen to my thoughts?" And yeah, there is definitely greater music out there. Then you get into the realm of like, "Hey, I'm gonna listen to a podcast while I lift or I'm in the shower. I'm gonna listen to an audiobook," right? And this is actually a topic I want to talk about earlier. When it comes to college and people going in to getting jobs, so many people stop learning when they graduate from college and then never learn again since then. Where I found it, even those who have dropped out of college are light years more educated than people who graduate with PhDs. Why? Because the average Joe has 17 TVs in their house, and then you look at successful entrepreneurs, and they have 17 different bookshelves, right, of knowledge that they're ingesting into their mind. Umair, on your end, would you say, because like you said, you don't have a college degree, would you say that what's a better and more productive route? Going just strictly the academic route and, working up that ladder? Or would you say it's the, you know what, let me fail, let me try again, let me read books, let me learn from a mentor? And why specifically would that be better than choosing the other route?
Yeah, and again, every human being is different, guys. There is no right or wrong, and I'm not against going to college and getting a degree. In fact, the people who go up who have the grit to actually get a degree, they end up doing better in business,
Mm,
right? If you go to Harvard Business School and you have the grit to pass that stuff and get through it, like it is not easy, right? So I don't want to make doing college right or wrong, but if you don't have a specific plan, like you said earlier, on what you want to do, like why pay? Why get into debt? You just got to be a little bit more logical about how you're creating your life. You know what I mean? So I really like what you said, but you got to keep planting those seeds of greatness. Like I said, out of the thousands of people that I've met over the last 12 years that I've been doing what I do, the number one thing that separates the winners from the losers is mindset. It's just mindset. Like actually believing that you can freaking do it and just having that contagious excitement, you know?
Reminds me of what Dana White said. And he's like, this generation's full of softies. Like anyone that has the slightest bit of savage in them, they're just going to destroy the competition. It's
Yeah.
if you're willing to get punched in the face and just like get back up the next day and be like, all right, let's do it again. That's what it takes to succeed, and really just facing the adversity and
Yeah.
going in and willing to fail. But failing's only detrimental if you don't learn from it. But if you learn from it, it's one of the most beneficial experiences you'll ever.
Absolutely. Man. What I recommend is, man, look, if you're young, if you're hungry, figure out a way to create some income. Whether you learn sales, I've had friends get into life insurance, crush it, absolutely crush it selling life insurance. I've had friends just start their own business, but you got to provide value in some way if you're broke. Okay? Then once you take that income, don't blow it. Give yourself a timeline. I'd say 3 to 7 years max. If you're stuck doing something for 3 to 7 years and you're not seeing some changes, you gotta change direction.
You gotta lock in. 3
You
to
gotta
7
lock
years is
in.
a lot of
Lock-
time,
You
dude.
gotta lock in.
Yeah. And then after you have that revenue, keep investing in self-development, man. I spend so much money on just freaking coaching. I've spent thousands on just because like I'm always trying to step out of myself and say, okay, is the issue really me? And if it is, can I correct this? Like, I've got buddies of mine who've had 6 divorces, and they're always telling me, dude, I'm telling you, this time it was her. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? It's like they keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Insanity.
Second that you say it falls on you and it's something relies on your being is the second that you can start to fix it. No matter in any of those marriages, I'm sure that, of course, they're both sides. There's both sides of the story. But if he just took a second to reflect and be like, all right, how can I help the situation? That's the first step to the solution.
Yeah. So much stuff, man, but it's all a journey. It's all fun.
Mm.
You get to choose whether you want to enjoy it or not, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
the craziest thing is wealth is actually nothing more than a feeling. Really, like that's what it boils down to. It's nothing more than a feeling. And once you start learning how to live in beautiful states of mind, you'll never be broke. It's like you're just grateful. It's like it's just a state of mind, right? It's like whether you have 100 million or no million in a bank account, it's the state, right? And so I was like, well, how can I just feel freaking awesome all the time, right?
Yeah, that's there's an idea where I don't know if it's biblical or from some philosopher, but it was essentially pointing out the fact that when you are broke, you tend to idolize money more than when you have money, you idolize it much less. Because when you're broke, all you're thinking about is, I need money. I need money to pay my rent, to pay my food, to pay for my kids' diapers, to the whole nine. But like you said, when you put in that work, you put your head down and work for that 3 to 7 years to generate that income at an extremely fast rate, then you get to a point where it's, wait, I don't worry. I have the money. I don't need to worry about stressing about providing for my family, providing for my loved ones, or blessing others, right? And so it's the dichotomy of it is just so interesting in my mind of the seasons of my life where I've had little to no money at all. That's all I'm thinking about. And then later on, after hard work and being smart with money, it's like, man, money just it's not the same to me anymore because I'm mature with it now and I have an abundance of it. And so yeah, that was something that took a while, like for me to get to where it's like, man, like all I think about is money. Like I don't want to do this, right? I know God says not to idolize one. You can only serve one or the other, money or your God. And when you serve your God and you work hard and you labor, those blessings will come financially. So
I
yeah, I'm
love that,
sure.
man. I love that. Just remember, as you guys start building your money, building your cash flow, whatever you do, whether you're working your job, you got a partner, you guys are saving, just remember to invest your money in cash flowing assets. Okay. Instead of building a nest egg, learn to create a chicken farm. Fuck, dude, I'm serious, right? Every asset that I have, other people go to work to make sure that I get a paycheck. And once you have enough chickens in that chicken farm, you're good, right? And what happens if we get hit with inflation? Am I worried? No, because rents increase with inflation.
Mm.
Bulletproof. Like, I'm not saying anything that's illogical or crazy. I'm like, hey, what cash flow based retirement plan? Nest egg doesn't work. And it's proven, like you're basically doing a path that's proven to lose, right? A nest egg means you save up money and then you take a distribution. The facts are most Americans are running out of money before they die. So instead of the depletion method, why don't you build a chicken farm? Okay. Once you have your bases covered and you're living the type of life you want, then yeah, take some more money, invest it into the risky stuff like stocks, bonds, cryptos, blah 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 blah. I'm not saying any of those things are bad. But cash
Slam
flow,
XRP.
Slam your
Slam
net worth into
XRP and then just let it
Dogecoin.
tank. I
I
have
mean,
a funny
you gotta have
experience.
fun with the cryptos, man. But never invest your money in that stuff that you can't afford to lose, right? Like I put a bunch of money in meme coins and things, and some of them hit, and I was like, it was like basically me gambling, right? But it's like I'm not putting money in there that I got to feed my family with, you know?
Yeah,
It was
absolutely,
so funny
absolutely.
this summer. I had never been into like stocks. They didn't really make sense to me, so I went different avenues. But for like the first time ever this summer, I was like, oh, I was listening to like a Robert Kiyosaki
Yeah,
podcast, and
yeah.
he was like, oh, like talking about a lithium mine, and I was like, oh, I need to slam this lithium mine. I slammed the lithium mine in Canada, and then like the next week, it just tanked.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta be careful of what some people say, right? Because sometimes they're doing a pump and dump type of thing based off of
Mhm.
their followers and things that they're telling you. So, and again, Graz,
Yeah, he absolutely pumped me.
stocks aren't bad, right? Like if you understand, like, for instance, when COVID was happening and everyone was like going crazy, it's the end of the world. Some stock investors absolutely slayed it, dude.
Mhm.
I bought some Exxon Mobil when it was like just it was down in the dumps and I made some good money on the way up, right? But again, those are speculative things, but as an investor, you'll start learning how to play the game. It's just a game.
Yeah.
It's just a game.
Justin, Justin and I had a conversation last night about this, and we were talking about the 2008 housing market crash and how there was one person that just like pulled the big short and just bet against the housing market because he saw it coming. He took out a loan for like 20 mil.
Michael Burry, yeah.
Yeah. And then how much he made? Like 30 billion or something crazy.
He just knocked it out the park, but you know, it's crazy. Like when everyone was running from real estate, Warren Buffett was buying it up in groves, right? So
Mhm.
always do opposite. If you show me any more people have become multimillionaires during times of recession than when you're in an upswing. So when I see turbulence, I see profit. I see revenue. I see me being able to get in, buy it cheap and sell it high. Okay. And so I
Mayor is preying on economic downfall.
Downfall.
well, it's unfortunate. It's
He's like,
unfortunate.
ah.
I'm not praying on it, right? But it's like I know that those are the times that are going to create
Mhm.
massive wealth, right? It's
Mhm.
like if you really look at all the crashes and stuff, that's where people make their money.
You know what just dawned on me? We never touched base on your nickname, Bank of Umerica. So you gotta explain it.
Well,
The
first
Bank
off,
of
you gave
America
me that
himself.
nickname. I said that I've been able to learn how to create my own bank, not by saving or making a ton of money, but just by understanding financial strategies. Like for instance, if I buy a house, let's say I buy a house, I get it from a probate attorney, or I buy a house for cheap and I buy it for 50 grand. Okay. Now let's say Aiden, he wants to buy this house for his family, right? He wants his house. Now, maybe he doesn't have good credit. Maybe he doesn't have a ton of money for the down payment. I can basically work with Aiden as a private seller, and I can say, you know what, Aiden, I'll be the bank for you. And as long as a buyer is willing to buy and a seller is willing to sell, I can sell that same house that I bought for 50 for 100 grand on terms. Does that make sense? I want to let that sit. I can because I understand this stuff, I can create money out of thin air. So now I've got a note that I've created, and this might go over some people's head, right? But I want to give you as much as I can now. Just like a Bank of America or a Wells Fargo creates a mortgage note, us Americans can create notes, a mortgage note, and I can hold the financing for Aiden. Now Aiden is going to pay me 100 grand over time for a property that I bought for 50. But now, if you guys understand how the banks work, over time, that 100 grand is the face value of the mortgage. Over time, depending on what I make the interest rate, Graz is going to pay me well over 300 grand.
Yeah.
And look, if Graz's plumbing goes out, if his electric goes out, am I responsible for it?
No.
No. Bank of America is not responsible for anything. It's Graz's house. Right? When you go buy a house from Wells Fargo, do you call them when your plumbing goes out?
No.
Those who understand interest earn it, and those who don't give it away. Unfortunately, in this country, they're not educating us, and everyone's just blindly accepting it. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. If people actually knew how the system works,
Mhm.
it's sad, man. You know. But that's why I want to educate as many people as I can, right? There's only so much that you can do, right? People can try to fight you on it, but I will challenge anyone with anything that I say because I back it up and I.
That's awesome. Now, Umair, for
And you'll
of
fight
course,
him with your
Graz and I
kickboxing
are
skills.
Graz and I both being 23, and we are in the phase of our life where we're just stacking. We're
Yo,
stacking money,
speak for
right?
yourself, man. I'm 22.
Shoot. His birthday's in May. It's coming up in a month and a half. 22 and 23. We're right now just leaving college and just starting to make real money. For us who want to get into the real estate game, right? What would be your first steps or your elementary advice on breaking into real estate to then pursue a portfolio similar to yourself?
Get an actual mentor. A mentor that you know is not just trying to charge you money, someone who's going to be there with you, not just for a period of time, but for life. Get around someone who's actually doing it. Make sure you can see, feel, touch, and hear them, because I bought a bunch of information, but I had no implementation. So if you want to get into, for instance, real estate or business or a specific thing, guys, get a coach. Let me give you another example, right? So MMA, martial arts helped me get out of trouble. It was needed, and God put that in my life, and I grabbed it, right? Right when I was 26 and getting overwhelmed with MMA, they brought this Renatus into my life, which is the education company that taught me everything I know, right? And so I was like, timing was crazy. But now as I'm growing as an entrepreneur, I'm wanting to get into, like I said, there's levels of the game. I'm wanting to get into mergers and acquisitions where I can buy businesses, and this might go way over your audience's head, but I can buy businesses and then resell them. Or I can do what you call a horizontal build or a vertical build, where you're buying different businesses as an absentee owner, right? There's millions of baby boomers retiring, and their kids don't want their businesses, right? But these businesses produce millions and millions of dollars in revenue. And so there are ways that private equity firms, and there's levels of private equity. There's ways that private equity firms can actually go in, buy that business, and help the owner of that business make way more money than he would without the private equity firm. And so my point is, I have paid large amounts of money to now learn this space. Does that make sense? Regardless, guys, you got to pay to play. Nothing is free in life. And if someone tells you that it is, they're lying, right? Like, whether you pay through your time, you pay through your knowledge, you pay through relationships, you got to provide value to the marketplace, and the marketplace will reward you. So as 22 and 23-year-olds, acquire skills, acquire knowledge, learn sales, learn how to communicate. Like, I started doing these. Have you guys ever heard of Toastmasters? It's like speaking classes. Like, they have these, it's called Toastmasters clubs. They're all around America. And I started taking these speaking classes because I was so terrified. You guys wouldn't believe it, but I was terrified of actually talking to people. Right? And so
You probably give a mean toast before dinner. You're tapping the glass.
Toastmasters, look into that. If you want to learn communications and public speaking skills, I recommend it to anyone.
Incredible. And like what you're referring to, buying businesses and stuff, there's never been a better time than right now. I believe it's the silver tsunami is what people call it, with all the baby boomers just retiring, and they don't have their kids to give them the businesses, so they're giving away their businesses for sometimes for free, depending on the business and financing and everything like that. So, looking into SBA loans that the government provides, looking into doing it with other people. It's buying into equity of a company, finding your skill, what you were good at, and relating it to a company, and really selling with emotions is what it takes. The best way to sell is with emotions. You can sell a product and just list all the information about the product. But when you tap into that person's emotions, that's when you really sell whatever you have.
Yeah, and whatever you decide to sell, just make sure it's something valuable and that it'll genuinely help someone, right? Because if you're selling stuff and it's like a crappy thing, especially if you're young, you're gonna ruin your reputation. You're gonna ruin you're gonna ruin your credit or your credibility in the marketplace.
Uh,
So be mindful of that.
Absolutely. When you were talking about the Graz, what do you call it? You said the silver tsunami. I'm not sure if there's an actual term for this one, but there's about to be the largest transfer of wealth in American history, I believe, with again, quote, don't or fact check me on this, but with $80 trillion or something of the sorts being passed down from baby boomers to millennials.
That's
man.
exactly what we were
And
talking about.
well, you were talking about the businesses, silver tsunami, at least the business transfer. I'm talking about the direct wealth transfer, whether it's entrepreneurial or not, right? People, baby boomers, they had pensions, they have their kids have been cooking for decades, right? And then all this wealth is now going to be transferred, right? People are living longer, and they're not dying soon enough, so these companies don't want to pay them pensions, right? What are we trying to get at? All that transfer of wealth, and of course, me being in life insurance and retirement, that's a massive opportunity to just go be the broker of the relationship of that transfer of wealth, right? Like you, Umair, you capitalize on certain certain circumstances, right? Whether it's a housing market crash or recession, you know how to thrive. And in the financial field right now, that wealth is going to be transferred one way or another. It's either going to be transferred through probate when someone dies and the state gets to decide what to do with your money, or you can go out there, provide a service to be able to transfer that wealth in a way that they are happy to be a part of, right? And you were talking about how people kind of use that nest egg, and they kind of use it like an ATM until it kind of like runs out, and it's like, now what? Now I got to go swipe IDs at Costco and Sam's Club when I'm 76 years old, and it's sad, honestly, right? It's sad when I walk in there, I'm like, man, like you should be like sitting in a rocking chair, like knitting some yarn together, but you're out there working. And like one of those things is a fixed indexed annuity that it's so funny. Shaquille O'Neal loves. I learned about these before even getting into the industry with Shaq. When he was a young guy making God knows how much money, he walked up to a businessman. He said, "Hey, man, what do you do with your money?" And he said, learn the word annuity. And I had no idea what that meant. But of course, it's been growing risk free. And then, of course, at 40, 50, 60, he can activate that lifetime income. And now he's getting paid, again, God knows how much every single month for the rest of his life. And it's just something like that where my grandfather was a neuropsychologist, genius. He was in my mother's science textbooks. He's an Eastern European Jew, got the bald head hair on the side. He literally is a carbon copy of Albert Einstein. But someone like him, with his insanely incredible intellect, he knows about neuropsychology, but does he know about financial literacy? Does he know how to build wealth through real estate? Does he know how to leverage different tax strategies with LLCs versus S corps and C corps? It's stuff like that where, like you said, Umair, if Aiden and I or anyone in my age or anyone on the marketplace, go and learn a skill that the majority of America doesn't know, and you just help them do that, you're going to get paid a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. Financial knowledge is so limited. It's sad. It's so sad. Like, I know some really head smart people that just don't know anything. I'm like, what is going on in the world right now? It's by design. It really is.
See, it's like when you say that, people are like, oh no, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, hey, no, just like look around. Like, why don't people know this simple information? Like, people don't even know what a tax write-off is. People have never heard of that before.
That's crazy.
And it's like,
That's crazy.
it's man, it's
I think it's important to follow your intuition. A lot of times, like, I know it's kind of like blind, but it's like I could just feel it. Like, it's like my soul or my psychological antenna kind of knew that something was off. You know, even though I wasn't like really book smart, I was like, something's really weird about what's happening in America, right? It just felt weird, you know? So I'm glad, like, your emotions are hints and clues, right? Whether they're good or bad, they're hints and clues. And sometimes if you learn how to follow those, they'll lead you down. There's a path, right? There's a really good book I read. What is it called? Dang, The Alchemist. Anyone ever read this? The Alchemist?
I haven't
I've
read it, I've
not.
heard it. It's on my to-do list.
The Alchemist with Paul Coelho. Paulo Coelho. So that's a good book.
Incredible. Well, we're approaching an hour, so I think I'm gonna leave it off with one more fun question. I want an answer from every single one of us. If you had to fight one celebrity in a charity kickboxing match, just for fun, you're KOing this person. Who would you pick and why?
Justin, you're going first on this one.
So it's a guaranteed knockout.
I mean, unless you're fighting like Shaq or a professional fighter, you pick like Israel Adesanya. Like that would just be stupid.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who would I pick? You know what? I'm going crazy take right now. It would be Smeagol from the Lord of the Rings. I would I would roundhouse kick that man to the moon. My gosh, I grew up on those movies, and Smeagol was like the bane of my existence, would haunt me in my nightmares. Yeah, so I think I'm taking that little guy out. What about you, Umair?
I don't know. We should make Graz go next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Did
funny
you
because
think
I didn't have anyone in mind.
Well, okay, you want me to go and you think about it?
No, but maybe I'll just I'll brainstorm. Right now, let me think. What's a combination of funny and easy KO? I'm probably gonna go with maybe like Peter Dinklage.
I
Dang,
don't even know who Peter Dinklage
dang,
is.
man, that's crazy.
I mean, it was completely out of pocket, but Peter Dinklage he's the dwarf from what is it, Game of Thrones? Yeah.
He's actually one of my favorite characters in that show. That was incredible actor.
Well, no, this because it's a charity, man.
Game of Thrones is cool. I watched some of that. That was a good. We're all nerdicals. I know we're all alike, right?
There we go.
Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. All right, you ready for mine?
Yes, sir.
It would have to be P Diddy.
Let's go.
Good one. There we go.
I would love to just hit him with a I'd love to knock that guy out. Yeah,
Dude,
it'd be P Diddy. I'd wipe the floor with him.
let's just like EV1 P Diddy. I'm down.
Right.
Fighting. Let's 3v1 fighting.
Moran, what are you
Gotcha.
referencing there?
I think we need to
What
pray for
what
him.
else
That's
would
what
we
I'm
do?
talking about. I don't know. When you say his name, you kind of got to clarify what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But
All that stuff that came out about him, but who knows? I'm gonna get back into my conspiracy stuff where he might have been an asset of the United States government.
my gosh.
Who knows?
Oh
Who
my
knows?
gosh.
Who knows?
No,
It's
but
so funny.
but seriously, when you ask that question, Aiden, I'm like, who do I hate enough to knock out? And I was like, wait, no, I shouldn't be hating anybody. And so went the fictional character route. But yeah,
That was probably
someone
a good route. I just went for an innocent bystander. That was crazy by me. And then Umair went with serving good and defeating
No, but
evil.
I respect Umair's decision. Why? Because in Proverbs 27:6, it says, better is a wound from a friend than a kiss from an enemy. So if we see someone, one of our brothers, or maybe not our brothers, and they are doing something that is not what they should be doing, we're an enemy if we're not going to hold them accountable, right? True friends would say, hey, wake up, man. What are you doing? Let's get back on the right path. So
Dude, I love
respect to
it.
all parties.
Incredible.
For
All right, well,
You guys got some wisdom in you for it's like holy smokes, quoting the Bible, talking about building wealth. You guys are like inspirational. I'm inspired. I'm like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah. Let's go. No, and we're extremely grateful. We were just talking about this the other day. The Rolodex of just our network that we've met from just being open to meeting new people and going up and talking to strangers is absurd. And us being this young, I know without a doubt that with our work ethic and our another proverb, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. Aiden and I will be growing and growing to, like you said, one day be where you are in real estate, be where a mentor of mine like Chris Hart is in insurance, or just building serious wealth to lead to impact, not just to make money. Again, money comes and goes, but it's to leave an impact. And people like you, Umair, we value so heavily because you're willing to take time out of your day and pour into the youth, the next generation, and help us not make the same mistakes that you did. And so for that, we're very grateful to be a part of that. And I cannot wait to build wealth and especially a real estate portfolio with the help of you. So we appreciate you for coming on.
Right on. Appreciate you guys.
Umair, is there anything you want to shout out? Any socials, any projects you're working on right now?
I've always got opportunities for everyone. So my business provides anywhere really good returns, alternative investments other than the stocks, bonds, and cryptos, all backed and secured by the underlying asset, which is real estate. If you guys are on Instagram, it's Umaer_Haq. That's UMAER_HAQ. You guys can add me on Facebook. I'm trying to get better at the whole social media thing. So maybe some of you young guys can school me on it.
Yeah, we got you.
A YouTube channel with some of our students and their properties and deals that they do is hands-on real estate on YouTube. And don't be afraid to reach out. More people want to help than you probably recognize if you're listening to this.
Absolutely. If any of you are looking to get into the real estate game or anything like that, reach out. Feel free to DM me. I'll set you up with Umaer as well. Follow on socials. We're live on Spotify. We're live on YouTube. Follow my Instagram, Aiden J. Grazia. Follow Justin's at JustMoreJesus. And we will catch you next time on Due Diligence. Peace out, guys.
All right, guys.
God bless.
Peace.